Greetings and welcome. This is our weekly podcast. This is You Are the Miracle. I am Cheyenne Kramer. This is my better half,
Donald Kramer. Hello, everyone.
And we are just so excited to be able to bring some special guests to you tonight. You know, so many of you have heard us say over and over again over the past several years that we need more people to get off the bleachers and onto the playing field, making a difference out here. You know, Jesus did not say, wait for me. He said, follow me. And that's how we work to live our lives, is what would Jesus do during these times when things are so chaotic and so crazy? And we're just saying, hey, we all came to this planet with gifts and talents that we can be using to do his work. And when we find people who are out here, they've overcome obstacles all over the place, and they're out here to do good in the world. We want you guys to know about these people. We want you to see these people, because there's too many people who are just sitting back and they give us so many excuses about why they can't do this and why they can't do that. And, you know, and we know health and finances are probably the two biggest challenges that everybody is going through. But I do believe that if you have faith and you know where you want to go, God will make a way. And so tonight we want you to hear from two very special people. Many of you know that we've been hanging out here in the Canton, Ohio area here for the last several months. We'll be here for about another month. And we've met up with this amazing little church called the First Church of the Resurrection. And some just amazing people are here. And oh my gosh, the pastors that we've heard, aren't they saying the same thing we are?
They are definitely. They're exciting.
They're exciting, and they're saying, get off the bleachers. Yes, of course, we're in a football town, right?
Stop sitting on your hands.
Stop sitting on your hands. That's it. So tonight, we're so excited to bring you Erin and Jason Barry. And they've seen some dark times. They've been through some major challenges. And we want you to hear their story. And hopefully you can be inspired to figure out, what is it that God has for you to do? Because we know that who's the miracle? You are the miracle. We are the miracle, that we're here to be the hands and feet of God. So welcome, Erin and Jason. How are you today?
Hi. Good. Yes.
All right. Well, we are so excited to have you here with us. And we would just love for you to tell our viewers a little bit of your stories. What was life like before you guys got together and started down this amazing path you're on?
Okay, so I'm Erin, and this is my better half, Jason. And like a little backstory for us is, you know, we both had good parents and good lives, and it's not like we ever went unclothed or unfed or, you know, had any type of troubled life situations. But we always, you know, believed in God and grew up in the church. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes tragic things happen and you can't prevent turning to the devil and to addiction. And this had happened for us back in 2011. That's when we first met. I had been going through a pretty serious tragedy for me. A very dear friend of mine, who I considered a sister to me, passed away unexpectedly in a car accident. And just a few months before that, Jason had lost his mom to cancer. So we kind of crossed paths during this really dark time. People say love at first sight, but even in addiction, it was for us.
It was, yes.
It was. And we knew we weren't in the right place in our life. We weren't in the right path.
Yeah, we wasn't meeting in church. We was meeting in drug houses. We was meeting in not the right places, you know?
And we knew that this lifestyle was going to come to an end for both of us. You know, Jason had been putting off turning himself in for a prison sentence, and I knew I was headed towards one myself. So we knew that we were going to be separated at some point. Late 2012, that's exactly what happened. he had to go away to prison, and he went in first, and then I went in shortly behind. And during that time, we both had decided, I had decided right away that this was it for me. I was done. I was not anymore. I have a daughter who I left and went to prison. She was 8. I actually, something interesting that sticks with me is when I was out on the streets, I can recall begging God to take the addiction from me because I couldn't do it for myself. I begged him every night, even high, and in my darkest place, I begged him to do something to take it because I could not stop it on my own, and I just didn't want to live that way anymore. And when I say he took it, he took it. I mean, I knew when I got incarcerated that was it. That was my sobriety day. I was never going to get high again. And I went into the prisons and had opportunities thrown at me that were only from the Lord. I was so blessed to work on what they call the Hope Channel, which is like an internal prison ministry. And we traveled to other prisons and to other places. I got to leave the prison with a monitor on my ankle for a couple hours a day. Not every day, but sometimes a whole day. And we would go and film, and we would film events going on in the prison as well, the church. And we created our own shows too that got aired across all the prisons everywhere. In fact, Jason saw me on a couple of them while he was incarcerated. So it really gave me a purpose. But where this really connects for me is I grew up at River Tree Church in Jackson and here in Ohio. I've been going there since I was about 12. And when I first came home, my first Sunday home, I went to church with my mom. And we walked in, and I thought it was a setup because, of course, on the big screen across, it said second chances. And I thought, what in the world is happening here? And it was at that time that I met Pastor Jason, who is now down with us at Res Church. And we connected just immediately. And in that moment, he asked if I wanted the opportunity to work the camera at the church and volunteer. And that's what I had been doing during my incarceration over the last 3 years, was working the camera behind the scenes.
Very good.
Yeah, so it was like God had prepared me for that moment while I was incarcerated. And I just remember it hitting me so hard and me telling my mom, like, oh my word, like, look what he's doing here. He did all that, and I come to this. And, I knew how to operate the camera. And I did that for many years at River Tree, and I really did enjoy it. Jason came home a little bit after I did, and we had parted ways a bit while we were incarcerated. As time, goes on and people heal, and I started building out here. I started building a home and a life, and
there was quite a big difference between, who came home first.
Yeah.
And the years that you waited.
Yeah.
I did 9 years and she did 3 years. So she came home and she still had 6 years till we met again. So
yeah.
Wow.
And during that time, if he wouldn't have ran from his sentence, he wouldn't have been maxed out. These are just drug charges. These aren't violent crimes. But we say every day to each other, we wouldn't take it back because God had a plan and a step all the way along. I came home and was able to establish myself and slowly be able to get my daughter back and, get us a home and start putting things in place and a job. But I think the most important part was him being gone so long played kind of a mental toll on him. And I had been past that and was able to help him in his recidivism and getting back in with the community and, just helping on the mental aspect of things because I had so much strength at that point from being home for so long that it allowed for me to guide him, I think.
She was my saving grace, for sure. So I tell her every day, she was my angel. If I wasn't able to come home and fall to such great support and love, that I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't be talking here today. My prison sentence was way different. I didn't have the Hope Channel. I was in a men's most violent prison in Ohio. It was always on guard. You always was fighting. It was very, very dark. It was very the devil owned that prison. And I had some death while I was in prison, and I was angry. I was doing a lot of time, so I she went in with a stronger head than that. I went in with the anger. She went in with love and let me find acceptance and make something better of this. I went in, I'm gonna make this even worse. So
but you did turn that around.
I did turn that around. It took another death in my family. I lost my brother while I was in prison, and it took that to really say, hey, you know, God was like, listen, you're losing people left and right, and you're here for a reason. So it's time to go ahead and straighten up, you know. And then Erin reached back out.
Yeah, it was in that moment that he started to get it together that I reached back out. Like I said, I knew I loved this man. I knew there was things meant to be for us, and we wanted to try again and shoot for that. So we did, and I opened my home to him when he came home, and brought him down to River Tree, where he got to meet Jason, and where we also met a fellow friend of ours named Stan. And we also then joined the Young Christian Professionals group.
YCP.
So that's called YCP. So we did they work a lot with the prisons and the Malone College University students who are in the criminal justice program, who are trying to better our prisons and better the chance of people coming home and what we can do to help them once they return. And we did that for quite a long time. We're still a part of that group. But in those times, you know, I got to go into the prison, and it was such an amazing feeling. I went in, I did a little blog. So I went in and recorded myself going in. And it was interesting because when I came out, you could tell something changed. The video, the difference in the video was insane. And the Holy Spirit was just racing through my body. And it was like, you need more of this. God just kept telling me, like, you need this. You need this. It just wasn't a consistent thing. But while I was in there, it was very interesting. I met a man who's serving a life sentence. And we got to share our stories with them, and we got to talk to them afterwards and meet with them. And it's the first time somebody had asked me to pray with them. And so I did. And I prayed with him, and I hugged him, and I cried, and he cried, and he looked up at me, and he told me I changed his life that day. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought to myself,
of all places, you know,
I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, would not change anything I went through to have come in there and made a difference in one single person's life. One person. If you can save one soul from the trauma and the evilness of the devil, one soul who's in a place where he'll never see the outside again. And if you can help and do that, it started setting us on a mission, and we wanted more. And recently, Jason has had some pretty serious health situations going on. He's had hypothyroidism for about 15 years, and it's been well controlled on medication. But come May, it just has gone out of whack. And they did some ultrasounds and some testing, and his levels are all over the place, and he's got some nodules on it. And bottom line, pretty much it has to come out. It's left him extremely lethargic. But one thing I will say is he gets up every single Sunday, no matter what. The Lord makes sure he has enough energy to get to church. And it's an incredible thing to watch, because he is so tired. His body's in a lot of pain, head to toe. You know, the thyroid, it literally controls every part of your body. It's really hard to explain to people. There's a lot of people with hypothyroidism that aren't quite understanding what this situation is. But when it starts to fail, and like his antibody test count showed the high attacking of the thyroid. So, you know, there's definitely, I hate to mention the C word, but probably some things going on in there. But the good news is it can come out. And the problem is waiting on the endocrinologist. You know, as all doctors in this world, you know, we're into January for that. So we did get blessed with a consult in December. So we will get to at least see somebody via video. We don't get to see him in person, but hopefully she'll be able to start running testing at that point.
Wow. Well, I would love for you guys to share a little bit about your experience a week ago, because you know, for my friends in North Carolina, it's colder here in Ohio.
So cold.
What did you guys do last week?
Okay. So
I was baptized a Catholic back in prison. After my brother passed, I told you I finally let go of all the hatred, reached back out to Christ, found my way back to the Lord, and found my way back to church, and started going back to Catholicism, and got baptized there. So that was my first baptism in my whole life, and I was 40 years old, you know. So I came home, and she'd been baptized as a young child.
Well, 18 years ago, I was baptized
as a Christian.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we came home, and like, we're night and day. When I meet people, and I tell them, hey, I did 10 years. Hey, I was a high-level gang member. There was times, and to this day I cry, because there's times I hurt people, you know, because that's who I was at that moment. That's the life I lived. And I tell people these things, they're like, there's no way you did 10 years. There's no way you used to be this guy, you know, because it blows their mind when they meet me now because of the change, you know. So we come home, and I just felt like, you know, I got married to this beautiful Christian woman. I want to be rebaptized in this life, you know. I feel like this is like resetting the foundation of my faith, my walk, and now my duties, like what I have to do, my discipleship.
Well, a funny story is, you know, Pastor Jason down at the church, at Res Church, we have been good friends. I've been good friends with him for almost 8 years now, and Jason has been great friends with him for several years now as well. And he is such an amazing, humble person and such an amazing friend of ours. And when we were in discussions with him about Jason's health is when he mentioned where he was now preaching at, which we had been going to River Tree, and I love River Tree. Like I said, I've been there since I was 12 years old. It's where you fit in. We needed fed more so that we could feed others, and we weren't feeling that there. And we knew we needed a change. We just didn't know where or how. And once we connected with Jason because of his health, he asked us to come down and visit. And a really powerful thing is the first time we went down there, you would have thought we had been members there for 20 years. God's just recently been speaking to me in my life for probably the last 2 months. I'll just be bare and honest about it. You know, I've always felt the Holy Spirit. I've always known what it meant. I've always been convicted by the Holy Spirit on certain things, but I never had that connection where I heard God. Since we started Res Church, I hear God all the time. In fact, like, I won't cry. Well, maybe I will, but it's just such an emotional blessing, and just such an intimate connection and relationship with him to have. I feel it's so important. I feel like he looks at me as his daughter and says, you know, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of your husband. And we just knew that we were meant to have our feet planted there. And so we decided to make the change together. And I had been thinking about getting rebaptized, but growing up in the Christian church, you know, they tell you, you only need to do it once and you're fine, you know, you're good. But I didn't feel that way. I felt like I wanted to show God. I wanted to give him something back of myself. It had been 18 years for me. It had been a lot of trauma, a lot of addictions, a lot of prison, a lot of people I hurt from what I had gone through. And I wanted to give back to the Lord and say, hey, I'm brand new and you again. I want to be baptized in your love, because every day my mission is to either reach out to somebody or to do something that is living for him. And when you asked us to be a part of this platform today, we were so excited because that's just what we're looking for. And those opportunities since starting this new church have just been flooding our direction. And it's just been a beautiful thing. So we talked and we decided that it was the right time, you know, and I had seen a vision, which also never happens to me. So I don't know. I knew it was God speaking to me when I told Pastor Jason that we wanted to be baptized, and he's like, okay, you know, we can
say something. She's seen a vision of a lake and a tree line, but nowhere does he say 50 degrees though. Okay, go ahead. Finish your story.
And you know, while talking to the pastor, he asked me, what do you see? And I said, I see you and me and Jason in the water, in a lake. I kind of see a tree line in the background. However, it's gloomy. It's not very sunny, but not a sad gloomy. That's just, I was being very honest about what I saw. And so he had set up for us to go to Lake Cable We went with Mike Savage and Pastor Jeff and a couple other people that are just amazing, beautiful people that are now, in just 2 months, are complete and utterly family to us. Everyone at that church, we have been able to just be so open, and I feel like we've known them forever. I feel like we've known them forever. And, just a small circle. Our children got to come, and my mom, who is, his mom, day in and day out, I do have to say something about my mom. She is a beautiful soul, and Jason loves her, and she loves him very much. And she's always been there to support us. She has never left our side. She's never left mine. And she came on that cold day with the children, with the kids, and watched us. And it was incredible.
Life-changing.
It was life-changing. And, something to speak on of that too is when I had been first baptized, I was extremely emotional after. I had a lot of good crying and a lot of feelings that you just can't describe unless you've been there. And I watched him go through this. The whole car ride home, he bawled, and he's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "You don't be sorry." Pastor Duke said, you can't
stop the Holy Spirit.
You can't stop the Holy Spirit. You're right. But I felt more for me. However, I felt re-cleansed, and like I had done something that I wanted to do for God. I also felt like I heard him say,
your husband to the water.
Yeah, thank you. My faithful servant. Like I heard those words from him for leading my husband to the water and leading him to be baptized, because he had said this faith feels right to him.
We're walking the faith. We're on the field. We're off the bleachers.
We're off the bleachers.
We're out there. Yeah. So please come join us in Res Church. If you're in Northeast Ohio, come down, please. We're out making waves.
Yeah.
We're making waves.
It's definitely given us a place to feel like we have a purpose. And I feel what I love the most about that church is everyone in there is on fire to have a purpose. So
yes.
Everybody in there is just wanting. And, we're very small right now starting out. So we're probably going to take over that whole slot of land. I mean, I work right down the street. You can see my work from the church, which is another interesting thing that God has pushed me to Canton.
And it's exactly where Jesus would be,
It is right.
Exactly where Jesus. He wouldn't be up there in, Jackson. He would be down there in
the nitty
gritty.
Absolutely.
That's where we feel home at.
I love it. Well, so you guys have come through the dark stuff. You've found each other. You found God. You've recommitted yourself to Jesus. So tell us, where are you hoping that you'll go from here? What are you're getting these visions. So what kind of visions are you getting about the work that he's asked you to do?
Honestly, I told Jason, from the moment we stepped foot in that church, that was a big change for us. Like I said, I've been going to River Tree for so long, and you have to leave your comfort zone sometimes to grow and receive what God wants for you. And we're definitely not ones that are in fear of leaving our comfort zone. We just weren't sure where we were to go. And I definitely see that we are going to make an impact on a lot of people that are suffering. As I work every day, I see it, the homeless, the addicted. They walk past my work every day, and
the hurt,
the lost, and the scared. And Jason's out there on Sunday mornings by the refuge and actually literally bringing people in, and they're coming back in the next week. And I see this church as being something that's going to allow us who have a little bit of a different story and have come a pretty far way in our faith and with our strength and our sobriety.
We're relatable. We're
relatable. Yeah. And I feel like that we are meant to be there to help these people that are scared to come in, that feel like they'll be judged, that feel like they're not good enough for God, when everyone is good enough for God. He just wants you to come to him. It doesn't matter if you're in your darkest of times. I was there high as can be, begging him to take it from me, and also angry with him for losing my friend. And, someone once told me, you can't be mad at something you don't believe in, so your faith must be very strong. And, I'm still extremely apologetic to him for being angry with him, but he is my father. He knows every piece of me, and he knows why and what I was going through. And he has continued to bless us every single day. So yes, the end goal is, as Jason continues with the prayers and his health, and it's just keeping him there every Sunday. I feel like once we get the health under control, probably, hopefully come, January is the appointment. Hopefully it won't be too soon after before they move on removal, and we can really get out there.
We like to work on, adding some kind of, addiction part to the church.
Yeah.
Recovery part to the church. Transition part.
Yes. Transition.
Just coming home for the transitional part.
Yes.
How can we help you not fall? How can we help you succeed the way I succeeded?
Yes.
So
awesome. You guys will be the support structure for other people. And see, that's such a beautiful part of your story. And this is what we're trying to get more people to understand. I don't believe it's an accident what we go through. And you said it yourself. You wouldn't change a thing about what you've been through, because I truly believe that a lot of times what we go through is so that we can pay it forward for our Creator and be able to help other people go through what we've come through.
Absolutely.
So God bless you guys for doing that. Don, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I like to, I know you two are really, like to ask for help. It's hard to ask for help. Believe me, I know. But going from 2-income household to a 1-income household is really tough. And did I hear something about a GoFundMe page you may have?
We do. We do have a GoFundMe. And I would like to speak on that for a moment because, he's been out of work since May. And I don't think a lot of family and friends and people understood the severity of his health, which at first we didn't even really understand until time had gone on. And we kind of kept everything to ourselves for a few months, and just the kids. And we have 2 teenagers here in the house, and his son and my daughter. So we just kind of went through it alone. But then it started to become very scary, me being the only provider and him feeling less than, which he should never. Through sicknesses and health is serious, and every single day, no matter what, because my faith and our faith is so strong in the Lord that we know that every single day God's going to provide. I wake up and I might start to worry, but he won't let me. And I am an anxious, worrying person until as of lately. He's just taken it from me, because it's like, I will not let you worry about this. I will make sure you're okay. And, some people lose everything. And we're working really hard to not lose what we've spent years building. And one night we sat down together and we talked, and I said, there is this platform, GoFundMe. We could put our story out there so that our friends and family know what's going on. We had fears of like, what are they thinking? Like, I work and we come home, we don't leave the house, we're not social anymore. But in Jason's disease, he goes now from hypothyroidism to hyperthyroidism in a matter of a week's time. So his levels are jumping. So that really controls every part of your body. You have severe arthritic pain, which, Don, I'm sure you know and are aware of what that feels like, kind of in what situation you had dealt with, and an uncontrollable sensation to sleep. And he was a truck driver previous to this. So you can't drive a truck and not be able to keep your eyes open. In fact, he's not even allowed to drive right now because the road, even a short distance to the gas station, can zone him out to where he just falls asleep, and they are kind of looking into possible lupus as well. However, he did just get diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is a direct impact of a failing thyroid, and it is an autoimmune. So he's fighting with that as well. And we prayed together and we made a decision. We've helped a lot of people and we've gotten a lot of help in our lives. And we decided that we would put it out there and just see where it went. And it was a very hard thing to do, but God gave us the peace and said, just please do this. Go ahead. Put it out there. Those that want to help will. We've been blessed with
very blessed
grocery cards and gas cards, and groceries showing up on our front doorstep, and dog food, and
blessed enough to make it so our children don't know that we're hurt.
Yeah,
and that's huge.
And they do know, but they also, the most positive blessing of this all is them seeing the help that the community, family, friends, and complete strangers have given us to continue their lives in the same way that they've always lived, which is just a normal life. We don't live extravagantly. We don't live beyond our means. We just want to keep the bills paid. And you know, it's been tough, but I carry it through on a daily basis because I just know that we're going to be okay. There is light at the end of the tunnel for him here. You know, you think back to this beginning in May, and now we finally have, you know, appointments coming up, and we've had a couple hospital visits, and we have more answers as to what was happening, which brought a lot of peace to us because before we didn't. So we've had our dog, I don't know where he went, Harley. He's been his emotional support. So they just sleep together all day most of the time, and I'm okay with it because I just want my husband to be healthy and healed and whole, and I know that God will bring that to us in His time.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ask and you shall receive. And you know, you guys took the big challenge, the big step, and said, all right, we'll put the ask out here. So folks, thank you so much for watching this today. And we did put the link to their GoFundMe page. It is under the video wherever you're seeing it. It's on YouTube, it's on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook. And if you would like to help further, please like our YouTube channel and share this video, share these video links with other people, share it around, let people know where this GoFundMe page is, and just see, you know, we know not everybody is in a place where they can give financially these days. It's getting tougher out here, and we know it, but we know that God will touch the hearts of the right people and that people will help out as they can. So we are,
and you know, for those that might not be comfortable as well, there is an anonymous donation there. I also have my Cash App and Venmo in the link as well for those who aren't comfortable with GoFundMe. If anybody does want to share, you know, help or shares, prayers, help, anything is appreciated. And you know, it's not all just about that, but yeah, you know, even if someone gives $5, don't ever feel like it's not enough, because every penny helps right now for us, and we're more than
thankful.
Yeah,
Grateful.
it just it leaves me a little speechless. We've had a lot of help, so
We understand.
we do understand, and we're grateful for you guys. We're grateful for the work that you do and all that you've come through and all that you will do. So thank you for being with us here tonight. We
thank you for having us.
Thank you. God bless
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So share this around, folks, because
share.
Absolutely. We want people to be inspired. We want people to have hope. We want people to know that regardless of what you've been through, you still are the miracle that we're all waiting for. So have a blessed week, everybody, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.